Hello, and welcome to my Fire Emblem 15 low turn count playthrough. I'm USS Gordon Captain. This time, we're going to be entering a dungeon. Now, dungeons in Shadows of Valentia are much more common to world map encounters in Mario and Luigi games than they are to Fire Emblem maps. So what we do is we have control of Alm. We have 3 speeds of walking and a dash. This will let us control Alm's movement. We can attack a piece of grass or attack a box in order to break it. Our first objective is actually to get to the iron sword in the chest in the left. This iron sword will increase Alm's attack quite significantly. And the other thing to note is that enemies will be alert to our presence depending on what moves we're doing. So if we're running, enemies will be more alert to our presence, and if we're walking, enemies are less likely to be alert to our presence. I use the evacuate command there to evacuate from the dungeons. This just brings us back to the entrance. This is abused later to avoid a forced encounter. So now we get into the second half of entering Thief's Shrine. You may notice that I got an iron sword. Items in Shadows of Valentia actually use a completely different mechanic from items in other Fire Emblem games. You can actually attack while unequipped because you have a basic sword that has 0 might, 0 weight, and 90 hit. The iron sword, by contrast, has 90 hit, 2 might, and 0 weight. So it is strictly better than not having an iron sword. But the opportunity cost is that since you have an iron sword equipped, you couldn't have a different weapon equipped, like a steel sword, or in this case I have oranges, which are kind of like vulneraries. I haven't used any of them, but you can heal your character by using an equipped orange. Here we encounter Brigand Boss. The most important thing about this map is that we need to get our units levels. Here Tobin got the 7th point of speed. This point of speed is extremely important, as with a speed well, Tobin will be able to double enemy soldiers in Southern Outpost as a mage. Here Gray got the 10th point of attack, which is notable because it is above Archer's base attack, and it allows Gray to become either a really strong archer or a really strong mercenary. You may notice that Alm has 7 displayed critical on the Brigand Boss. What's notable about that is that Cliff here needs to kill the Brigand Boss in order to promote. And so, if Alm actually crit the Brigand Boss, Cliff would not actually get the 3rd level he needs to promote, and I would have to fight in additional encounter in order to get Cliff the required EXP he needs to promote. Lucas here gets a kill. His experience points don't actually matter very much. He just gets to level up because it's kind of funny and it's free. The other noteworthy thing about this map is that the objective is kill boss. Normally every map has the objective of route, but this, along with 3 other maps, are the only maps in the game that are kill boss objective. And so, unlike every other map where I had to route the whole map to finish a chapter, I got to finish this chapter after killing the Brigand Boss with Cliff. So I get the Ram Wine. The Ram Wine is an item that doesn't have almost any purpose whatsoever. The only purpose it has is that you can give it to Milla to do some dungeon-only things that no one ever does. And so you can get... But the other thing you can do with it is sell it, and ramp wine and other alcohol in general sells for a lot of silver, so it's quite useful to get. Alright, so I just recruited a unit called Silk. Silk is a cleric, which means she can heal, and she has the extremely inaccurate Nosferatu spell, which only has 60 accuracy. Here I also had accidentally forgotten to show picking up the mana herbs, so I'm just showing that I picked up the mana herbs. Anyway, Silk learns the Warp spell at level 7. The warp spell is a positioning spell, which will allow you to move a unit 7 tiles. Oh, sorry, not 7. Attack divided by 2 tiles away from Silk, which typically is 7 because with stat booster, Silk's going to have 14 strength. So here we actually get our first promotion. Promotions in Shadow of Valentia work very differently from promotions in other Fire Emblem games. You promote to the class's base stats in the class, which means that if a character has, in this case, Tobin's case, he had 4 less HP than the base stats of a mage, so he gained 4 HP. Faye here is going to gain multiple different stats as well. If I had gained by giving my units more level ups and they had better stats, they actually would have gotten less stats upon promotion because their stats would be high enough to reach the class bases. Certain units will reach above class bases pretty much always, and certain classes have very different bases depending on their promotions. Here I had a big choice between promoting Gray to Archer or promoting Gray to Mercenary. Promoting Gray to Archer is nice because he has 4 base speed and Cliff only has 3 speed right now, and Archer Gray with 4 speed is able to double quite a few brigands in the upcoming map. However, I wanted to take advantage of the 10 strength he had, so I decided to promote him to Mercenary. The other issue is promoting Cliff to Archer is that Cliff only has 3 defense, and you may notice that Mercenary gives Cliff a 4th point of defense, which would have been really nice since I would have had 2 units with 4 defense instead of 1 unit with 3 defense and 1 unit with 4 defense. But I decided to promote Cliff to Archer. One of the reasons I decided to promote Cliff to Archer is that Cliff has 55% speed growth while in Archer, where Gray only has 25% speed growth while in Archer. And Sniper gets Cliff back to 6 speed, so we actually don't fear too much about Cliff's lack of base speed currently in the long term. Cliff will also need to hit the 5 base speed mark in order to we'll also need to hit 8 speed in order to double enemies in the penultimate chapter of Act 3. So here I have shrines. So shrines in Shadows of Valentia give additional stat boosters, and stat boosters are sort of an extra mechanic. There's a luck shrine and a speed shrine. I gave 2 speed to Silk because Silk needed to get speed in order to double enemies. So here, there's another mechanic in Shadows of Valentia dungeons that I'm demonstrating called destroying boxes. If you destroy boxes and cut up grass, you may have noticed I gained some silver marks. So you can get some silver marks and some gold and some food, most notably actually, from blowing up boxes. But as you can tell, the drop rates are super low, and it's just not really worth it to grind for loot crates. The money route I used, however, for this run has extremely tight money routing, such that if I make a mistake and I forget to pick up a mana herb or something, I'll very frequently just be short by 2 silver, and this extra loot box grinding will prevent me from needing to worry about such things. Thank you very much for watching. Next time we'll be taking on Ram Valley.